Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of the Magical Human Show. A little later than usual, life took over, so we didn't do the last one, and today is a day earlier than we normally would. So Claire, where are we on the moons? Are we a full moon or a new moon coming up?
We've got a full moon coming up in Scorpio, June, on Tuesday.
Okay, and what does it mean being in Scorpio? What have we got to look out for?
Maybe June is a better place to tell us what we need to be watching out for. But
the dark secrets, everything coming to, the light is going to shine on things, isn't it?
yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting in that on Saturday, the 20th, there is a conjunction where Uranus and Taurus are right next to each other. And that is really
Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus.
Jupiter in Taurus, thank you, June.
All right.
Are right next to each other. So this could be exciting times for kind of like some collective kind of comfort, things to improve, or windfalls. So it's quite opportunist for kind of abundance, etc. So you've got that, and then we're going into this full moon, and what we had from the last solar eclipse was this whole business of self and shining a light on self and letting things go, and unexpected emotions, things that have previously been in the shadows suddenly being illuminated. And then we follow with this full Scorpio moon, which is like, you know, the deepest, darkest of those emotions, and basically them coming, as June says, out into the open, out into the light. And I would imagine it's largely to do with self, because that's the color of the energy at the moment. There's 5 planets in Aries, so it's like a lot of self, and that's what we want. We want people to take responsibility for themselves, starting with their health and moving on to their minds, and then moving on to their spirits. And it's all about self, return to power and energy, really.
Interesting. And are we out of retrograde season, or are we still in the thick of that? Oh gosh, how long's that going
25th.
Right.
So next Friday.
Okay. So is everyone else's world kind of up in the air and about turn, or is it just me that's suffering this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, June, you have? Okay.
The thing that we always say we wish we didn't have to depend on, but we do. It's gone completely tits up. Yeah.
What's happened to it?
Mental. It just a week ago Sunday, it started just crashing and restarting. And it's been doing that every time I open it and get onto an app and try and do something in the middle of sending a message. My messages are becoming very succinct. No more long messages from me, because it's like 3 words and I'm done. So it's helping me be more precise. But it's so infuriating. And I know there's something in there doing this, and I don't know why. It's still in warranty. Can't get hold, here we go, Mercury retrograde again. Can't get hold of the manufacturers who are in the Netherlands, because it's a Fairphone. Lovely Fairphone. I love it. But it's still in warranty. So I would like to fix it rather than buy a new one. And the phone co-op where I get the phone from, because they add it on to my phone bill. So it's small monthly installments over 2 years. I've just finished paying for this last November. So, I mean, really? So yeah, I'm feeling slightly frustrated. So I spent most of this morning trying out all the things they said to try out. Next thing is a big restarted in safe mode, and that's quite scary. Because all my apps will go away, and it'll all be me. And then there's factory reset. So it just takes over your life, and I can't get anything else done.
Yeah. Do you know all your passwords to reset everything if you do a hard reset?
I have pages and pages of studying passwords.
We're not
supposed to have the same one all the time, so try and vary them.
Have you backed it up to your computer so that you can just...
There's the other thing. The computer is nearly at capacity too.
Oh,
I've got to go around delete. I've got duplicate photographs in there for some reason or another. So
you can get little external hard drives that you plug in on a USB.
I
keep everything on that.
One of those. I could back it up onto that, because that has got a lot of capacity. Thank you. Yeah, good point.
Back it up, June, because then you should just be able to like plug it back in and everything comes back after you've done the smart reset.
Yeah.
Pain in it.
It's a bit tense.
It's
We depend on them so much, it holds everything. My brain doesn't have to hold
My
much
whole
because it's all
life is
there.
in there, right? Ugh.
Yeah, I hate being that dependent on a device.
Did you just admit to being vacuous, Tamar, there?
Where I can.
It's not in my brain anymore. It's all on my phone.
It's on my phone. Well, I used to keep everything in my email, and Hotmail decided to reduce your memory. And so I had to delete a load of stuff. And it's hideous because that was my memory. All my documents, all my past insurers, everything was there. I've had to find other ways to keep that in my head because I just don't have, I've got 48 years of crap in my brain. I don't have room for it all. So, yeah. So where I can, I'll be vacuous. I'm especially vacuous at the moment.
Why?
That goes with your backdrop.
I know, right?
You're full of space.
I am completely spaced. Well, my day job has broken me. I'm currently burnt out and signed off with stress. It's just got to the point where it's just totally unsustainable. I'm not the only one on the team that's off. It's just awful. And I've been off for a couple of weeks. I've still got a few more weeks off. And my friend asked me yesterday if I was doing all right. And I was like, yes, I think I'm better. And then burst into tears. So not better at all. So I'm doing stuff to try and lower my cortisol. My sleep is a bit better, trying to get out for a walk first thing in the morning, trying really hard not to be on devices first thing and last thing. But when, like you say, when you run your life on it, it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not doing well when I don't read. I haven't picked up a book in a few weeks because my brain is so busy. Than how else to describe it. I can't sit and focus. So I'm just watching box sets, and that's when I know I'm not doing great. So yeah, it kind of feels like I knew it was time to leave that job. I knew an ending was coming and it was uncomfortable, but it just keeps making it more and more uncomfortable. It's like, universe, I know, but I need to find the opportunity to move to. So in the meantime, I've started advertising the counselling a little bit wider. I've also started a virtual assistant business, but those things are always slow burners and take a while to build up. So I need something, something part-time to take over from this other job because I really don't want to go back. The thought of going back just fills me with dread.
Mind you, the planets are speeding things up at the moment, so you never know. Don't be too expecting it to take a long time because it might just.
Good. I did have a job interview the week before last week. No, it might be last week. I didn't get the job, but was appointable. So if the person that got the job drops out or another one comes up, then I don't have to interview again, which is nice. But there were a lot of compromises with that job. It was a drop in salary. I was having to be out more. I'd see less of my son. And as I was sitting in the traffic at the time my interview started because they closed the road, they're putting a load of bike lanes and bus lanes in and the city's hideous. And as I'm sitting there at 9 o'clock, which is when my interview starts, thinking, I think this might be a no from the universe. As it was not a no, because when I got there, they went, it's fine, don't worry, because I'd rang and said I'm going to be late. You don't have to do the assessment. We can see you've got the skills we were going to assess, so we'll just do the interview. So it didn't stop me getting the job in the end, but it kind of felt like something's a bit off with this.
Wow. So you read the auspices and you took it. Yeah, so congratulations, because that can be difficult to do when you're sitting worrying about being late in traffic, so much, you're so uncomfortable in one job. This could be a way out, and it's like, and then your way out discolors, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, I've been very much, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. It would be great to do that job, but if it doesn't happen, I know that's because I'm supposed to be doing something else. I'd kind of like to be in that something else now, please, universe, please.
Yeah, I think it's working for yourself though, Tamar. I think that's probably going to be the kind of more flexibility, kind of, greater pay levels, things like that. When you get paid properly for what you do, you should earn well.
Yeah, exactly. And having those sort of different jobs to do. So before, when I was made redundant 3 years ago, I thought about doing all this then, but I was like, no, I need a job, I need bills to pay, and I was way too scared to do it. But this time around, because I'm like, I know it will work out. I know the universe has got me. Everything's going to work out. So I'm a bit more inclined to, if I can get a big enough contract to quit that job and then build on that, I kind of have more of a confidence in that now that I didn't have 3 years ago.
I'm just wondering if the universe will go, no, I'm sorry, you've got to jump, you've got to leap now and trust later instead of trying to hedge your bets, because the universe can be a bit kind of challenging like that if it really wants to ram a lesson home. It's like, no, you're going into this in full technicolor.
Yeah, but I have no backup. I am the only one paying the bills. The bills keep coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
I'm braver. I'm not that brave.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I've been asking for a sign. Give me a sign. Give me a sign.
That's a good thing to do, yeah. Ask for a sign completely. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, so you guys have had that. I'm trying to think what I've had. Well, my
We had a car breakdown again.
in Scotland, and I was just like, is this going to be like we did with 7 houses, that buying process I went through? And I thought, I'm on car number 3. What are we doing with this? And in fact, I was driving a 4th car because I had to get a hire car from the garage that sold me the car, and people were just going, my kids' friends were going, "You've got another car?" And it was just like, yeah, long story. I'm just trying out all the cars in the universe to see which one I like driving. But my car is back and fixed. And like you, Tamar, I'm just like, well, nobody died. And it's kind of like, maybe this is just how it's going to be. And my coach said to me, the buckets of shit won't necessarily stop tipping over your head. It's your response that needs to change. And it was like, yeah, it is. It's just like, okay, what are we up for next? And funnily enough, when I've challenged back and gone, okay, the universe has suddenly become quiet. So I'm just like, okay, we'll deal with it. I can deal with it when it comes. It's fine, deep breath, step back, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of in a weird, well, not weird, just a gentle space of just going, oh, well, okay, not rushing at anything, just taking my time to move through things. I've got loads of stuff going on with different events. In fact, we've just moved one event to the end of August from June because we were just like, the pressure was building so much. And we're doing these events without earning any money really from them. And they're taking up too much bandwidth. And people aren't pulling their weight, and it's all falling on a couple of shoulders, mine being one of them. And this whole, as I said before, this whole time about self is about kind of working out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And what I've realized is I don't want to run events. I don't mind attending events and speaking at events and enlightening people to enhance their human experience, but I'm not a professional event organizer, and nor do I want to be. So I'm not really sure why I put myself in that position, but I do these things just so I can make sure I'm very much working out what I don't want by going into situations I don't want to be in. It's a very pragmatic learning experience. Can't just think about it, got to go and do it before I can go, ooh, this doesn't work for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Speaking as one who's done that for a large number of years, I'm finally beginning to realize I need to put myself first. But, the interesting thing, I had the birth chart for the day we moved the clinic last August, at the end of August, and I had a friend of mine read it for me, and she gave me the most marvelous feedback. One of my major lessons this last little while, these last few years, is do not go by external validation, go inside. So I got another smack around the face with a fish the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and I went, oh, there we go again. It's still there. So I thought that was interesting.
What did you do? I need to know what you did now.
Well,
Details?
what happened was Wednesday Wellbeing got rearranged without consultation with the team, and we thought we were a team, and the person who's kind of been organizing it, although we all thought we were part of a team, she just decided to change it, and I felt like I was being fired. I absolutely felt like I was being fired, and it was like, God, I've worked for myself for 40 years. Nobody ever fired me, ever. I've always quit. It'd be other jobs before that. And I just went. And then I kind of went, really, ooh, this is not good. And then I thought, it's okay, because she needed a change. That's what she was actually saying. She needed a change. And that's fine. And so, you go back and you think, well, I got my Wednesday mornings back. Yay. We're not doing that anymore. And we did it for nearly 2 years. So every week. So that was a big commitment, and I wasn't getting anything much out of it, although I did get to speak to a load of amazing people, made some fantastic new friends all over the place. So there've been loads of pluses from it, and I don't regret a minute of it. But yeah, I have to think about my own. And so then I went back to my own clinic and I went, well, it's not really functioning as well as it ought to do. Theoretically, it ought to be blooming. But because it's mainly lying on my shoulders and I've been processing a lot of other stuff, but this reading that she gave me was marvelous. It was really, really good. It's a beautiful looking chart. It's absolutely beautiful looking chart. And yeah, so and I'm really bang on all of the signs for this thing on Saturday. Like Pam Gregory was saying, if you're within 13, 18 and 23 of any of the fixed signs, if you've got anything there that's going to be important for you. If you've got things in Taurus, and I've got things, Nessus is in Taurus. Oh
wow, God. Well, this is ancestral karma, isn't it? It's the time to
yes,
reverse all of that.
yes, yes. It's big. It's
I'd heard it was
huge.
supposed to be really disruptive. Is it only then for certain people that it will be disruptive?
Always.
Well, it depends on what you call disruptive. I mean, like
Plot twist stuff.
Well,
That's not what I thought I was going to be doing.
massive downloads of abundance of some sort of another. I don't expect loads of money. It's never going to happen. But, you know, other things, other abundance is happening. You know, so
Yeah.
that's.
Sorry, June, I interrupted you. I was going to say it hasn't happened since 1941, but they've been pulling towards each other for, you know, a long time. And so there has been chaos. That's what's brought down the government structures, people starting to question whether they're happy to be governed in this way. You know, this has been the influence for quite a while now. So it's just the fact that they've got really next to each other now. So it's just like a kind of really bringing things to a head.
They are quite close together in my birth chart, I have to say, as
Ooh.
well. There's so many things.
Oh, okay, June. So you mean in your actual birth chart, yours are really close together. Oh, that's super interesting. So you always had that kind of anarchy with stability, did you? Kept breaking your own stability.
Yep.
Rebelling against any
yeah.
orthodox principles. It's like, no, I don't do orthodox.
Always on the edge of everything. Yep.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So yeah, and you remember I put in all those extra asteroids. Well, I took I printed one off, and then I drew in where all the other ones were, and it's fascinating. It makes my chart much less unbalanced. It was all above the ascendant. It was all above the midheaven. Everything for a Scorpio, that's really weird. And then Jupiter and Uranus are in my 6th house at 27 and 29 degrees.
Right, they're in your 6th house of work and health.
And children, isn't it children too?
5th house is children.
Okay.
So does that mean you're going to have an abundance of work coming in to fill up your Wednesday morning?
Maybe that's why the Wednesday morning stopped, because it was like, you know, it's serving you. You're giving more than you're receiving.
Something else is coming. Plot twist.
Well, my workshops I need to focus on my workshops more and my teaching. I'm doing more talks and things and outreach stuff. And yeah.
Because that's what happens, doesn't it? When you're involved in these things, you're running them because you feel that they're good for the greater good, but you run them on, well, in my case, nothing.
Fumes.
You don't have time to make your own business because you're taken up running this thing for everybody else. Everybody else is getting the benefits of that's what's happening to me, getting the benefits of our manifestation, and I'm not. And it's I get the headaches, and I'm just like, I don't really want to do that anymore. So I'm trying to extract with ease. It's not very easy.
It's a tricky balance, isn't it? Because you're here to heal and help and share information, but you've also got to survive yourself and sustain yourself. It's like filling your own cup or putting your own gas, mask on before.
100%. Yeah. You don't do that. Yeah, because you can only help people if you've helped yourself, if you come from a kind of complete place, because then you won't have any strings on what you give to others. You'll give freely because you won't need them to give you anything in return.
Well, yes, and I've always said that you don't need to be perfect before you start helping other people. This is the thing that lots of people I know keep going on courses and going, I'm nearly ready. I'm not, and I'm going, you're enough. You are enough. Do not feel that you have to have all your stuff sorted out before, because it's a process of learning as you're going along. I mean, you learn, and that's why we have mentors and supervisors and people who support us as well. That's really so important that we have that, because we learn that people bring things to us and they touch us because we're human. And we have feelings, and it triggers our own experiences that we're supposed to be dealing with. So we need to go away and work on that separately.
But that's
So when you said,
Crystal.
Go, Tamar.
when you said about being human, you've got to show up as a human. You've got to be a human person in that room. Otherwise, you might as well just go to AI, which is not going to solve anything. It'll give you the stock responses, but what you want is that human experience and that human connection. So like addiction comes from a lack of human connection. So you becoming or showing up in your whole self. And sometimes people want to know that you've had that experience and you really get where they're coming from, because you felt that pain. You know what that feels like. You get it. Where someone that goes, oh, it never happened to me. It's like, you're never going to understand my pain. So being a human in that space, I think, is really important.
Yeah. Self-revelation is tricky, though. You don't want to make the session about yourself. You can't talk about yourself. I really, as a Scorpio, I try and hold stuff in, because I feel it's not appropriate. And I was just talking to a colleague yesterday about how she, there is this thing currently with the younger people to, you look at Instagram, everybody is talking about their own stuff. All the therapists are going, I did this, I had this, I'm suffering from this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going, don't you feel exposed?
It's a fine line.
Don't you feel people are looking at the thing, not you? That's what I was worried about.
No,
but some people want to know that you know what some don't, and you read the room. But some, if they kind of go, you don't even know what I'm talking about, and you go, well, and it kind of links that relationship. You have to be very careful. I do agree with what you
have to be careful. And I talk about people I know who've had similar things, because that helps. But doing it on here, you can't read the room. You're just blurting it out to the whole world. I've got this and that and the other thing going on. And I'm thinking, you're exposing yourself unnecessarily, I feel.
Maybe. Yeah, but that we do have to reverse a culture where people haven't shared these things and people have been trying to come across as perfect. So always with that, we get extremes. And I feel, I can't believe how relevant this is. Last night in Circle, we were talking about exactly this, and the fact that certification, I was saying that when someone's got a gift, when they're an empath, that's a skill you're born with. And you can develop it through practice, but generally intuition, it's like within you. It's an awakened skill. Everyone's got access to it. It just depends how much it's developed within you. And that's not something that can be taught. And when you're healing people, we'll have different kind of ways to do that, different gateways that we choose to walk through to offer our healing modality. But the principles of the healing modality are inherent within us, generally based and enhanced by our learned experience. And how do you certificate that? And if you think about any old kind of tribal leaders, elders, priestesses, it was initiation, not certification. And so it's like the initiation is going through the life experiences. The certification shows that, yes, you can learn a series of principles and remember them. But actually, when you're sitting with someone, because so much of what we're doing is feeling based, certification isn't that helpful. It's just helpful in terms of boundaries and structure. But really, yeah, it's just so relevant at the moment, because there isn't a certificate for empathy, intuition, etc., all of those healing gifts, because how would you? And thus, therefore, the person that comes to you just has to sense that you are the one to help them, that there's something about you that makes them feel safe in your hands and trust that the experience between the two of you is going to be what they need.
Well, that's right. And that's what she was saying yesterday. She said, well, it's engaging trust in myself. And I'm thinking, yes, yes, it will to some people, definitely. And you attract who is meant to be with you. And there, on the other hand, there are other people who think they don't need any qualifications to do anything. And I think that you're absolutely right. People do need some kind of structure within to work, and some certification that people have gone through a process of considering their skills and their techniques,
Yeah.
and then employing them according to the way they were taught. But then you go off and you make it your own, and you develop adjunctive things that go in and improve your skills, hopefully. And that's what CPD is all about. It's about reflection. It's about considering yourself as well as what you're offering, and thinking about how you've improved over the, I mean, I have to do this. This is very current for my flower essence registration. We have to show that we've been working on keeping up with the latest things, because it's one of those very fringy things. People think, oh, well, you know, acupuncture, yeah, but you still can't just do acupuncture training and then go out and needle the world. And I had another interesting discussion
Prick the
today
world.
about that.
But yeah, but Jude, it's that thing of kind of, I hear you. Oh, what was I going to say? It is important, the CPD and all this kind of stuff in terms of staying relevant. But if you move above the pendulum and trust that you will attract the people that need you and you will be able to help them, then, I mean, obviously you need some. I'm not saying that you need to have no training, by the way. I am not
No,
saying
not at
that,
all.
because you're right.
Not
Because
say
you
that.
need to examine the other part. You know, you can't just be fresh out of college at 21 and sit down and handle someone who's had a lifetime experience necessarily based on a qualification. But I'm saying, I guess, that as we get older, our wisdom is as valid a qualification as a certificate. And there is something about trusting the process, trusting the interaction, that, you know, you move above all of this and the right people find you and you find the right people. And what I find so interesting, and what my coach and I experience, is when I attract my clients, there's often a mirror, and perhaps that's what you're alluding to slightly. And from coaching them or guiding them, I get an experience as well. It's like a symbiosis experience. They're obviously the client, so they need to kind of, they're the priority, but there's always some extra learning. There's always something. It's never just a single transactional experience. It's very, very powerful. And I feel that you get the right people to help you move through, because then I go and pay someone to see me, and, you know, it goes on, and all this stuff. The issues are always very interesting.
Yeah.
In the counselling I do, it's person-centered. And we always say that the relationship between you and the client is more important than anything that comes up in the room. There's got to be trust. There's got to be that kind of the symbiotic relationship you talk about, where you kind of feel like they get you and they understand you and they're really there for you. So it's about that kind of the gelling with them, I think. We do like a little discovery call. If someone wants to book an appointment, we have a 10-minute call and say, let's just check we're a right fit before we start. And it doesn't really matter what you talk about. You just kind of get a feel for them and you go, yeah, I think we can work together.
Yeah,
I do that too. Yeah,
I do it too. It's really important, because people buy people, and people buy different processes, and different languages and different skills are going to appeal to different people. It's like, well, yeah, acupuncture and kinesiology and flower essences is my bag, or person-centered therapy is your bag, or somebody comes to me through astrology and lands up discovering that they need to change their diet. You just don't know what might happen.
Yeah, well, exactly. It is a learning experience for both parties, to be fair. The two people in the room. And I say that with my classes too. I mean, I'm always learning from my students. They all bring an incredible amount of their own experience to the group as well. And that's a whole other dynamic, you know. It's absolutely fascinating. And I think doing healing, you can feel the energy come through you, and it has its influence on you, because it's not your own energy that you're using. People say this to me, don't you get exhausted? Well, yes, I do get tired, because I'm getting a bit older. But, you know, I think the more you do, the more clear that channel is. And if there's less sticky stuff to deal with, then it just keeps coming through. But you do have to go away and process the stuff that comes through as well, on that energetic level, as well as the emotional and mental level. Can I just talk about that for a second? It's an
What is it?
Wrong. You've got to say it.
aquamarine.
Tell us about it.
Well, higher heart chakra thing. I was listening to Tim Wilde talking about it, one of his Monday meditations about the higher heart chakra, and he was talking about an aquamarine light, and I thought, I have aquamarine. They've been sat in my drawer for ages. Somebody once told me I needed them for a particular layout with autistic children. I think it was anyway, and they've just been sat in my drawer for a long time because I've not been doing that, and I got it out. It's so lovely.
Was it already in the necklace?
Yeah, it's inside the spirally thing.
Oh, how lovely.
A little crystal cage. You can buy them from crystal shops or somewhere. Yeah. It's really lovely. So it's sitting right over my higher heart chakra. And apparently there's another chakra here at the base of the skull. Did you know about that, Claire?
Are you talking about the Alta Major?
I guess. I
Yeah.
never knew it had a name.
Alta Major.
Explain.
The Alta Major is kind of like one of, this is one of the places where they feel that if you were going to get taken in by spirit, or spirit was going to overtake you, it would come through this point. It's kind of like also a connection point into the grid and into the kind of, the kind of the matrix. So when you kind of want to kind of separate and become the individual you truly are, you kind of have to pay attention and make sure this part of you is protective and independent from kind of external influence. Basically, it's a large place that you could be influenced. So you've got your kind of solar plexus and you've got this one here. So that's what that's about. So when people talk about they can feel something sitting on their shoulder or behind them, that's kind of influencing around this area.
How do you spell it? Alta Major? What? Alta?
ALTA Major, I would imagine.
Okay, because that's really interesting. I mean, the point that I think he meant was right in the middle at the base of the skull, which is an acupuncture point, of course. But it's not necessarily a major one. It's very good for the tongue and for, I mean, I'm going to have to go and look it up a bit more now, but then this is where we catch colds, is at the base of the skull and the neck. If that's tense and there's cold winds like we have had, I have felt them get into me through here. And this is where and you have to kind of let them do their job of doing the clearing, because we need a little bit of a spring clean right now as well. So getting a cold right now is not a bad thing, but I'm busy trying to control mine because it comes out in a very controlled fashion. So I'm not like all over everybody because we don't have that.
With pollen's quite high as well, isn't it, at the minute? So everyone's snuffly from what I can tell.
I'm not snuffly.
Oh yeah, pollen's been kicking my ass.
No,
I think it depends what you're allergic to. It's certain
but you're struggling anyway with you're not in the right space. You're not getting proper rest and relaxation. So you've got, your mind is buzzing because you're not happy at work. So and it takes up so much of your time and you've got worries. And so the head is where we do all our thinking, the crown chakra. So your kind of brain is probably on kind of a bit of a meltdown. So it's like your defense mechanism is going to be very, very kind of vulnerable. So everything and anything is trying to slow you down because you don't want to go back into work. That's ultimately what it is. And it's like, I'm going to make you as uncomfortable as possible and put every single barrier in your way so you do not take us back into that place.
I'm trying very hard.
Oh,
and I always think hay fever is about things irritating you.
Oh,
yeah, it's like it's that, and you've got that in spades right now, but it is very much about being not at one with nature, not relaxing into it. I mean, kids, we've got little tiny kids with hay fever these days. This is just so sad. And also it's all to do with the neck as well. If we loosen
hydration and chemicals and vape trails and many things.
Yes.
Right.
On that note, ladies,
I think
we're going to draw to a close. It's been very nice to see you. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks on the next new moon. And take care.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Again, I have to find the ending.